Welcome to the 410 podcast. We are super excited to start this off. This is a podcast where we'll be covering everything DMV soccer. So if you have a team in DMV, we'll probably be talking about you. And I'm super excited to be here. My name is Gio. I am your host. With me is Alfred, Noah. We are super excited. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Gio, Happy New Year. Great. Thank you for having us on. I am likewise super excited. It's that time of the year, Cup season. We got lots to talk about. We had a thrilling end to last season, so I'm excited to talk about some of the successes, some of the new teams, and a lot of the players in action.
How about you, Alfred?
Yeah, I'm really ecstatic to talk about all of this. This past season was really great. A lot of great performances from different teams. And this is like an idea that as well that we've had to have a podcast to talk about. So the platform is finally here and I'm really, really excited about it.
I appreciate you guys even bringing me on to be able to talk about this, because this is going to be a very fun topic, because here in Maryland, DMV, Maryland, Virginia, DC, there's so much talent, so many good teams.
Definitely.
And I feel like they don't get the coverage that they deserve. So we are going to talk about the Cups today. We're going to really focus on the Cups because this weekend, actually, by the time you hear this, it'll be the following day that the games happen. But we really want to talk about this. But before we dive into the Cups, I do want to talk about the seasons that just ended. We had, the SSL, Maryland Super Soccer League, Virginia Super Soccer League, and the championship there. You had the APL in DC, or Virginia, I should say. So many leagues going on. We have to cover them before we move into the Cups. So let's start there. Let's start with looking back at those leagues. Noah, tell me, what was your most favorite moment from any of the leagues that we're going to cover today?
Well, I mean, maybe it's a recency bias, but for me, the probably my most exciting moment was covering that Virginia Dream Steel Pulse Super Cup final on a cold, wet, rainy night. Both you gentlemen, you got to live it there with me. Seeing, one of my idols, Bill Hamid, in goal for Virginia Dream. But, so much talent on that field. It did end up being a rout for Virginia Dream, but that's their first victory in that derby of three. Steel Pulse, of course, they had the first two. So for me, that was, my favorite moment. But there really are so many to pick from. And again, that's the most recent one. That was the Super Cup final, the champion of Virginia playing the champion of the Maryland Super Soccer League, Steel Pulse. I'd be curious to know what Alfred's favorite moment was, though.
Oh, my favorite moment actually is that Mike Kim goal. Actually, when they played against Blazers, that was such a good goal. It was the way it was built up, and then Michael Kim's spectacular skill really to go on, and then he scored as well. And I almost couldn't believe it. It felt, the moment itself felt surreal, and it was unbelievable. That was my favorite moment of the season.
Yeah, and Mike Kim for Northstars
Yes.
in the Virginia Super League, their final match, in a match that wasn't consequential as far as points were. So I'm sure not many people even know the moment that you're talking about, but you're right. It was a fantastic goal. And sometimes in a match that otherwise doesn't matter, but you get those goals.
Yeah, it really didn't matter, but the way how the play occurred, and then the way how he played for that particular goal, it was, and I heard you were, because you were not recording, I was recording, and it was like, oh my god, I can't believe it. You were so surprised as well, but it was a spectacular goal. It really was, and I still can't get that out of my head. The way he scored the goal, the effort he applied as well, that was sensational for me.
See, this I don't want to call them the lower leagues, but the local leagues here, like you always see some crazy bangers you do not expect. And you see some talent you don't expect in these leagues. And I think, Noah, you mentioned it in that final. There were so many professional players that came back for that, right? And I hear it so often that like this DMV area has a thing about attracting, whether they are ex-professionals, current professionals, just to come back to feel those local derbies. This is why I really am really excited about this podcast. But go ahead, Alfred. I think you were about to say something.
No, not really. I was just agreeing with you on that.
Oh, okay.
On that. Yeah.
I didn't want to cut you off.
No.
Making sure. But yes, so we're kind of still talking about the leagues and how they wrapped up. I kind of want to make sure we don't forget to mention the champions. Noah, do you mind running us through all the winners of the leagues that we're going to be covering?
Absolutely. I would be happy. So we'll go one by one. I'd like to mention the champion, the runner-up, and the regular season champion. we'll start up in Maryland. The regular season champion was actually Das Bierhall. It was their first season title. As a club that's been around, their first iteration was, I believe, Academy FC back in Maryland Majors. They reincarnated in the Super League, started off Division II. They made their way up into Division I, and they were exceptional. I mean, they were unbeaten. I think they had one draw, but otherwise they were blowing teams out of the water. Even beat Steel Pulse in a thrilling 3-2 match during the regular season. They were blanked in the finals by Steel Pulse 3-0 when Steel Pulse really hit their stride at the end, as they do often in the playoffs. And Steel Pulse were the Maryland champions of the MSSL. Das Bierhall runners-up. In Virginia, in the Virginia Super League, it was, no surprise, Virginia Dream regular season champions. And, of course, they went on to be playoff champions in Virginia and eventually defeating Steel Pulse in that Super Cup, the New Paradigm Super Cup finals. But they defeated, before that match, Great Falls Los Toros, which is another team which has really been on the up and up. Dave Maestron has done an incredible job there. So in their first season in the Super League, they made it not only to playoffs, but to the final match. Another team that deserves honorable mention was Doratus. It was their first season. They're an incredibly young group. I think 18 or 19 is the average age, and they did really well. The American Premier League, which is a Northern Virginia-based league, they kind of took over for the WPL these last few years. Their regular season champion was Los Toros. Los Toros actually went on and won the championship, the playoff cup as well, knocking off Yins United, which I'm sure I don't have to tell anyone here. That's one of the more historic clubs, been around since I think 2004, and they also had a great season. The UPSL, DMV South, newcomers DC Hyper, they were the champions. They're pretty much fully Brazilian side that came up from the second division of the UPSL, and they knocked off the big boys. They knocked off Virginia Dream. They took down Virginia Revolution, among others. They were the regular season champions, and they represented this area in the Regional Cup. And in Maryland, it was Bridgeport, the DMV North, that is, for UPSL. In the Maryland Majors, I might be blanking out. It was Baltimore City. Baltimore City FC, a well-deserved championship final. Unfortunately, that was one of the matches I didn't get to see live, but Baltimore City has been doing a great job building not only a fan base, but a strong culture, a winning culture. So I'm excited to see more from them. The WPL, which I know has lost some steam in the last few years, but Starliners, they made it to the finals. They were runner-up and lost to Ramp Conquistadors in the final over in that league. That's pretty much all I got. The EPSL, I think Christos made a resurgence, and this last I saw, they were top of the table in the EPSL, which I believe continues on into the spring.
Yeah, I was going to say, it hasn't wrapped. They're kind of playing catch-up because it was supposed to wrap late in the fall, but due to some weather and some Open Cup games and stuff like that, they had to delay it. So they're looking to end that season in January, early February. So we'll see how everything pans out there. And then also in the MPSL side, you have the great run that the Annapolis Blues had. I had to mention them because we're going to try to cover them as much. Even though they're making the switch from MPSL to USL, we still want to make sure we shout them out because they are a great team here in the state of Maryland. Alfred, anybody you want to shout out before we move on to, I think it's going to be your favorite topic, the funniest moments from this season?
If I was to send a shout out for it, I think I would actually send a shout out for Daniel, the UPSL coach for Northstars. I mean, the odds were really against him and they didn't really make it to the knockout stages, but he really gave his best. There was so much effort put down for Northstars Berryville, and they tried, they did what they could. They couldn't make it, of course, but yeah, he's one of the people around that's trying to, uplift his team, do wonder things. So yeah, shout out to Daniel.
Is that a Northstar jersey right there?
It is. I had two caps in gold. That's my Northstar Berryville goalkeeping jersey.
Look, he's getting excited now. He's like, look, I have proof I was in that.
Yep, it is. Yeah. And just before we move on, you mentioned U.S. Open Cup. We do have a participant in the U.S. Open Cup from this area, Virginia Dream. Be remiss to not mention their run. They knocked off Aegean Hawks and ASA Reds during that run. And also, they were the NPSL Mid-Atlantic champions. They knocked off Annapolis Blues in front of the 9,000. I was there. Alfred was there.
How did we not run into each other though?
You were there?
Yeah,
You were there as well?
yeah, I was there. Me and my wife were.
We were down in the section with the 20 people wearing pink.
Yeah.
Oh, I was not. I was on the opposite side, on the comfortable chairs, nowhere near the Bay Boys.
I had a
On the
megaphone.
opposite side.
I had a megaphone in my hand. I think I still have it.
Too funny, too funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's start with the funniest moment, because while there have been excellent highlight moments with some bangers, some saves, some
Yeah.
play builds up, we cannot go over those moments that literally just make us laugh and make us think about how unique this league is. And I do want to talk about that, and I do want to make sure you guys mention your funniest or favorite moment that just stays in your mind when you think about these leagues. I know you got one on the tip of your tongue. So
Yeah, I have
just
so many, and I'm glad I'm going first because Noah's not going to be able to beat this one. It was Northstars playing Virginia Dream, and Virginia Dream I think were winning like 3-0 or 4-0. Yusuf Nasiri had the ball. Michael Kim had the ball, and then Yusuf Nasiri just pushed him off the ball. Most of the time, I would laugh and I would just stop because Noah is like the professional one and I'm like not professional at all. And then Noah started laughing as well, and we just laughed for like a minute straight. And Noah said he cannot believe what he just saw. That moment had to be it for me. That was too funny.
we got to pull that clip up. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
definitely.
Absolutely.
No, how
how
about
did I
you?
know that you were going to say that? You were going to steal. You were going to steal my funny moment I had in mind. It's that I'll just add more context to that moment. Yusuf and Michael Kim are incredible friends, but they have that like brotherly friendship where Yusuf's always complaining that maybe Michael Kim isn't giving him the service or doing whatever he wants, and Michael Kim's a fantastic player, but you wouldn't know it from how the two interact. And Yusuf in that moment just pushed him out of the way like a little brother and took the ball off of him right in the middle of the field. It had to be there, but it was a hilarious moment.
We'll make sure we'll pull it up so people can feel like, and we got to get the audio because that's really gonna sell it.
The audio is there. And the ironic thing about it is like a couple of weeks later, Michael Kim provides a sensational assist for Yusuf Nasiri as well. Just like 2 weeks when they played Estudiantes where I think they won 5-3 against Estudiantes. So yeah, it was a beautiful moment at the end. But that moment where Yusuf Nasiri just pushed and brushed off Michael Kim, that has to be the moment of the season, the funniest moment.
Oh, that's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Congratulations to all the champions of all the leagues that we just briefly talked about. And we'll definitely be covering them in more depth as they come back, as they return to play. But congratulations to all the champions. And for those that weren't champions, we saw you were killing it. You were doing what you could to try to get those points and get to the playoffs or become champions. So we tip our hats off to you. But now we turn our attentions to the cups, the state cups, both Maryland and Virginia. We have quite a lot of cups going on. I'm just going to run through them real quick of what cups are going to take place between January and February, and then we'll talk about specifically the cups that are starting this weekend. So the first cup in Maryland is going to be the MDV Cup. This is an important cup because it's going to feature both Virginia teams, Maryland teams, and DC teams. This is kind of going to serve as like the best of the best, in my opinion. I might be biased, but in my opinion, it's going to serve as the best of the best because not only are you fighting for the DMV Cup, you're also fighting for placement in the Rawlins Cup, right? The Rawlins Cup is a historic cup here in Maryland. It was established in 1914, first time it was played. So to get either of these cups, you're getting bragging rights off the bat. And then later on in January, I can't remember the exact date, you'll have the Stewart Cup kicking off and the MDCV Cup, which is the Virginia DC Cup, and then obviously this weekend Norton Cup will be kicking off as well. So I didn't miss any. Look at that. I'm professional here.
Yeah, you got it.
Congrats.
Because in the rundown I definitely missed one, but it's all right. It's all right. Here we go. We're good. We're good here. Anything we want to talk about before we dive into the matches that are going to be kicking off, teams, anything we want to mention before we dive into that?
I'd love to just provide a very short additional clarity. You did actually an incredible job because I get asked all the time, why so many cups? What's one versus another? Which is the most important? And there isn't a most important one, but they do have each a distinction and a really, there's so much history behind the cups. You mentioned the 1914 start of the Rolling Cup. The MDV Cup, which is the newest of the cups, it played for the first time last year. That one is a Champions League in the sense that the leagues nominate their top teams. The USASA affiliate leagues, the Super League, the Virginia and Maryland get spots. The APL gets spots. The DC Premier League was allocated spots, and EPSL as well. They also get spots. So it wasn't like an open entry, teams will say, I didn't see that came available. But it provides extra meaning to this regular season in that you have to be great over the course of a season in order to get a spot. So that's going to be really exciting. We were able to keep the history of the Roland Cup alive by naming the northern section the Roland Division. The Southern Virginia teams will be called the Potomac, those two groups. And so that will be two tournaments in one. The Roland Division, as you mentioned, once teams advance from knockout from the Maryland teams, they will play out their own semifinals and finals to get a Roland champion, and then the rest of the tournament will go on as originally planned with knockout rounds. The Morton Cup, if you want to call it the Europa Conference, the Europa League, there's some excellent teams there too, but it was open entry, so teams could join if they weren't playing in the MDV Cup. That tournament is also open to teams that are not affiliate, so UPSL teams or teams that didn't play in a USASA affiliate league. Some of the UPSL teams also played in, affiliate league, I think Virginia Dream among others, so they were eligible to play in the cups. And then the Stewart Cup and the MDCVSA Cup, think of those as kind of the same thing. The MDCVSA is Virginia's National Amateur Cup qualifier for that national tournament, and then the Stewart Cup champion in Maryland will represent Maryland in the National Amateur Cup,
which is very important. A very historic tournament right there. It used to be just the Roland Cup here, and then it just split into these different qualifiers because they meant different things. And then I don't remember when DMV rebranded, but they used to be a Champions League style tournament. It was called Championship something here in Maryland, and it was a few years ago, and then I guess it changed to DMV, which is MDMV. I
think that was the Roland Cup. Maybe it was either Roland or Stewart, but I don't know. I wasn't as involved at that time, but I remember seeing that the regular season matches counted towards. Yeah, they double counted. So your end of the season matches would be super important, which is interesting. I could see why, if it doesn't go your way, why you're going to complain about that. But yeah, they've experimented with some different formats. But that Stewart Cup, you mentioned the history. That's 1932. So not quite as old as the Roland Cup, but we're talking, that's basically the Great Depression, pre-World War II. That's a really old tournament.
Yeah.
Historic is the best term there. Yeah. But, we talked a lot about the cups themselves. They're important. They have meaning. Some of them lead you to national tournaments. Some of them just give you the most bragging rights because it's the elite of the elite, right? But let's talk about the teams, because there's a lot of teams in this cups that are very important, big name in the DMV area. Alfred, let's start with you. What team do you want to highlight? Because there's a lot. There's a lot here.
Is that the Morton Cup we're talking about right now?
Let's focus on the MDV Cup, because that's going to be the what is the term? The
cream of the crop.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so there's of course like a huge team, Virginia Dream absent from it. So that's like, I guess for some other teams, of course, that's great news. But then of course you've got Steel Pulse, who are very ambitious. They win a lot, although they didn't perform as to how they would have wanted in the Super League final. But Steel Pulse are like probably going into this tournament as the favorites. There's Christos as well, who have been close competitors. Sometimes have even beaten the Steel Pulse as well. Just another team. My favorite team looking into this, actually, I've only watched them played once. Like, did a commentary. I was telling Noah the other day, world-class premier. My word, they have Emmanuel. Emmanuel can almost do it all by himself. He is a sensational player. I'm very excited for them. I really want to see them play. I really want to see them perform, and I really want to see them into the knockout stages as well. But then again, we have to mention teams like Aegean Hawks. They are like one of the creme de la cremes in the area, and then there's Yuns United as well. You've got young teams like Bowleys who are coming. I think they're not really gonna get a chance. I don't have them making it to the knockout stages. No disrespect. I just think they're in between that period where they can be first division, but they're mostly like in the middle from like second division to first division. I don't think they have that sort of power enough to make it to the knockout stages. And their group is like consists of Christos. They have to play Team United. They have to play BS also as well. So yeah, Team Orange, I have to mention them. One of my favorite team, of course. I love Team Orange. The players, every one of them, everybody like puts 100% when they play. A really good team. One of the favorites as well going in. They cannot be underrated. Yeah, this is a great tournament with all these teams. As I'm looking at the list right now, I'm like, wow, this is good stuff.
Yeah. And it's not just like the individual teams, it's also the stories between those teams. Like you mentioned Steel Pulse and Christos. Those two teams have a history.
Mm-hmm.
Really, while it started in Maryland Majors, it really kicked off in the Maryland Super Soccer League, where they were just going back and forth, trading off in the finals. And I remember the very first time Steel Pulse beat them. The reaction the fans and Steel Pulse had was, Noah, you were there. I mean,
oh yeah,
you remember.
That was a Yusuf Nasiri penalty kick that took them through. I mean, I still have the highlights saved of the everybody running on the field. That only comes from a rivalry that exists when you've tasted defeat. You've tasted tough defeat. Sometimes the multiple goal defeat. And it's embarrassing. And you come back, you get the win against that team. It's just been over you for a time. There's no better taste in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just remember those matches between those two, and then there's other teams, right? Like you had Baltimore Kickers and Baltimore City being a newer team, but Baltimore Kickers being a historic team. Those are teams that are one on the resurgence and one on the come up, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're looking at two teams from Baltimore that are really looking to either reestablish themselves or make a name for themselves, and there's a lot of good players there that I just watching them. I mean, Baltimore City. First of all, their kits are nice.
Yes, they really are.
I might be a little biased there, but their kits are nice. Yeah, I'm just really excited to see like all these teams really play each other.
Yeah, the kits. I almost actually bought one of their kits. Actually, the Baltimore City. Yeah. I love the prospects that they have. You can see that team really has potential. They operate like just any like big side, and they have like when they have games, they have this gathering where people go to like a bar and watch together. That's such a good thing. Yeah, I'm absolutely in love with that team.
You're gonna send me down a rabbit hole about the fan engagement, man. Don't
do it.
Because we need, like, I'm telling you, if anything, I plead to you teams that are watching. Create a fan culture, please, because the atmospheres are better. Everything is better. The fans will only help you grow or even become more stabilized than you already are. So, please, for me, for Alfred, and for Noah, create a fan culture, and the atmospheres are going to be live. Yep. All three of us are begging right now. Noah, any team you wanna highlight before we move into what we think are going to be some of the top games we want to
Yeah, I mean, it can't be understated. The return of Christos. They are, the eminent power in the area. They're the eminent power amongst other eminent powers. Christos's, history speaks for itself in terms of the national championships, their dominance in Maryland over the years. But a side we haven't mentioned yet, Ristosi returns, the reigning champions. The young side, they took the season off. A lot of their players, too many of their players were college players, and so they couldn't compete in the Maryland Super League. They left on a great note, though, and they'll actually be entering the NPSL in the summer. But they will be competing in the MDV Cup. They were given an honorary slot as reigning champions, so it'll be interesting to see, can they, repeat that historic run? They knocked off Christos in the finals last year, so it will be really exciting to see. I've already talked about Los Toros. I think as far as the depth of their player pool and the consistency that they bring, I think they're a surefire team to advance at the minimum to the knockout round, but they can go on a run. Alfred talked about them. I think that's a team probably not as many people know about. They play in the DC Premier League, and they're so understated. They'll never be hyping themselves up. They don't do a lot on social media, and they may show up with 12 or 13 guys on game day, but those are former college players. Those are guys who, to oversimplify it, don't really feel like leaving the district. They may not have cars, they just take Metro everywhere, and so that's why you're not hearing about this talent. But they're leaving the district for the MDV Cup, and they could make a run.
So many teams. Well, we talked a lot about teams, I'm going to put you guys to the fire, and I'm going to have you guys choose your candidates. We're going to focus on the DMV Cup. We'll mention candidates for Norton Cups, but we're not going to dive too much into the Norton Cup because, as you mentioned it, that's kind of the Europa League Cup. Let's just call it that. Let's just call it the DMV Europa League Cup. No, I'm kidding. Don't rebrand. But those are up-and-coming teams, right? Those are where the teams where the powerhouses that are in the DMV area are going to look to steal talent from. Those are the teams they're going to do it from. Yeah. So let's focus mainly on the MDV Cup, if you guys don't mind. So let's start with Noah. If I was to say, I'm looking to bet, I'm looking to put some money on these teams, who are your top 3 candidates you would pitch to me, and why?
So we're right now we're just talking about to come out of the tournament victorious, or are we going to talk about matchups this week?
No, to come out victorious.
Okay, one pick has to be Christos. I'm going to use one of my picks on Christos. Steel Pulse would be another, and I got to go a Virginia team for the third pick. As much as I love Rositos, I think repeating is going to be difficult for them to come back after not playing in a league. Let's go Los Toros. Los Toros, they've been a team that's on the up and up. They have so much depth. They've got the player pool to last, not only the group stages, but to go all the way and knock out. So those are my 3 picks.
So Noah has Christos, Los Toros, and what was the other one? I missed
Steel Pulse.
Steel Pulse. That's what. Alfred.
I'm gonna go for Aegean Ox. They're the first team. I'm gonna put in my
good shout,
and then Aegean Ox, and then I'm gonna go for Steel Pulse as well, and then I'm gonna go for Christos. Yes.
Wow, no dreams. I'm shocked right now.
No, Virginia
Dream's not in.
Oh, Virginia Dream are not in the tournament. That's right.
You're right. I forgot about that. That's on me. I was thinking of all the cups, not just specifically the MDV Cup.
I have to say something though. I am putting Steel Pulse in as a conditionary pick because because I mean that loss against Virginia Dream in the Super League final didn't feel like it was Steel Pulse playing. So I asked around, and some people said, I don't know if it was an excuse, but they said the players were not at 100% in their best state of mind. And I heard some things that said that, of course, I don't know if people were making excuses, but they said they were not in the best state of mind because of 1 or 2 things that happened. So if they are in the best state of mind, then I pick them. If they're not, I'll probably make a space for Ristosi, perhaps. But I'm going with Steel Pulse, Aegean Ox, and Christos.
I have many options to choose from if I was a betting man. Luckily, I'm not a betting man.
Definitely.
But I'll take you for your words. But let's talk about games of the week, right? Because we have, for the MDV Cup, we have 8 games. Am I correct? Yes, 8 games happening this Sunday, January the 5th. The first game starts at 1. It's going to be Steel Pulse versus Baltimore Kickers.
Baltimore Kickers, yeah.
Yep. And then you have also at 11, you have Team United versus Das Beer House happen simultaneously. Then I'm just going to run through all of them just so we hit them all. And then at 1 p.m. you also have Patuxent FA versus Ristosi FC. This is they're all, by the way, all these games are at Cedar Park Lane the first half of the day. It's going to be in fields 5 and 6. You have Bali's Athletics versus Christos. By the way, a team we did not mention, which I think there's some talent there that could really push his team. Obviously, rather newer team, not at a caliber of a Christos, but hey, you never know. It could surprise somebody. Then we're going to switch locations, and we're going to head to Thomas Jefferson High School, where we're going to have Los Toros and Team Orage. Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah.
That's such a good matchup because that's going to be such a good game.
That is going to be a fun game. That happens at 5 p.m. Following that game is going to be Aegean Hawks versus Yins United, which I think is another big matchup. Virginia's is like, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
What's going on over there? And then that's going to happen at 7 p.m. And then we're going to go to Langley High School, where we're going to have Alexandria United versus World Class Premier at 7 p.m. And then to close out the day, which is a long day, a busy day, 9 p.m., we're going to have Northstar versus Aspirin?
Yes.
Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah.
Aspirion, yep.
Spirion. That sounds like a Pokemon. I don't know why that just hit my head. It sounded like a Pokemon. But very busy day. Of those games, what is your game of the week? Or game of the weekend?
Is it possible that we get to go through each of them? I'm too excited. Maybe that's too long.
We can get through them. We can go through them.
I
Sure,
promise I won't belabor. I won't hang on anyone. But I would love to do. I love to force people to a stance, a pick. And that we try to do that before all of the games.
We can. Let's start at the beginning. We'll start at the first 11 o'clock game, which is Steel Pulse versus Baltimore Kickers. Let's start there. Who's taking this cup? Or
I'll
taking
pick
this
first.
game?
Alfred, you pick second. You pick first on the second.
I'll
pick
go
first
that.
on the
Yeah.
I'm going to go 4-1 Steel Pulse. This was the fixture from the beginning of last year's MDV Cup, if I'm not mistaken. Steel Pulse, they are the eminent side. It's a tough side to beat. Kickers, of course, they're on the up and up, but I think it's a tough task for them in their first match.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Steel Pulse as well, because the last match they lost, so they'll be looking to bounce back, and they're gonna take that anger out of Baltimore Kickers. Baltimore Kickers, of course, you can't look them on the down as well, but I think Steel Pulse are gonna run away with it, probably 5-1.
You know what? I'm not gonna put a score to it, but I think I'm gonna agree with both of you. Steel Pulse. I think this is a good game to test to see where Steel Pulse is, if they're in the right state of mind or the wrong state of mind, right?
Yeah,
and it's a game where they can have some leeway. Not saying anything against Baltimore Kickers, but Steel Pulse should win this and should win this comfortably. But it gives them the opportunity to, flush out anything that may be lingering from the final. All right, let's move on to Team United versus Das Beer Hall. Sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna go for Das Beer Hall because I saw I don't know if Team United have recruited new players, but I think I saw them in 2 games last season in the MSSL. It didn't look really quite impressive to me, and Das Beer Hall, obviously regular season champions, went to the final against the Opals but lost. I'm gonna say 4 for Das Beer Hall.
Fair enough. This is a great fixture we've seen over the years. I'm gonna go 3-1 Das Beer Hall. This is 2 teams that have played each other coming up from Division 2. They both earned promotion, and there's been some incredible derby matches between them. But yeah, I think Beer Hall right now is just in a better state overall. 3-1.
We gotta not get on the safe wavelength at some point, right? We cannot just all.
I think it's coming. It's coming.
It's gonna get more contention.
Yeah.
Virginia has a lot. I don't want to say more parity, but like Maryland has star power, and Virginia, it's a little different.
There's a gap.
That's fair. That's fair. With that being said, I also picked Das Beer Hall. So let's move on to Patuxent versus Rositos. Ristosi. Sorry, I put my Spanish accent on it.
Noah, you want to take this?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ristosi, I'm picking the defending champions. Like the Steel Pulse match, I think it's a good opportunity to see where Ristosi are after not playing any competitive matches for several months since the spring. We're going to see where they are. Patuxent, no disrespect to them, but I think that it's a side that they should be at their best able to handle. But we will see is if Patuxent brings more of their USL 2 side, then I, may recant my answer, and it may be a totally different match. But I'm going to go 3-1 Ristosi in that one.
Yeah, but Patuxent also has gone through a lot. Like they're still in their EPSL season. They're going to be ramping up their USL 2 season. So it's a lot on those players.
Yeah, amen.
I'm not too familiar with Patuxent, so I'm going to go with a win for Ristosi. I'm not going to put any scoreline for this.
That's fair.
Fair. Man, I know I just dogged Patuxent, but I think I'm going to pick them because they are going to be ramping up for the USL 2 season, right? So I'm thinking they're going to be bringing their college players to use this as a let's get ready for our season.
Okay.
That could be an understated match with college players on both sides.
Right.
Catch that one live on DMV Sports Media. That one is one of our 4 matches on the channel this weekend. So
you'll get to see live who's going to be wrong.
And exactly. And the Baltimore Kickers, Steel Pulse, that's one or the other. I'll mention them as we come across the matches we're covering this weekend.
Yeah, sounds good. And we'll definitely be sharing out the links. And obviously, if you're watching this, you should be subscribed and hit the notification so you know when we go live.
That's a given.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta listen to my man Gio on this one.
Okay, Bowleys versus Christos, which I think is going to be a fun match, but I don't know how competitive it's going to be.
Alfred, I'll let you go
Yeah,
first.
I think I'm gonna go for 6-1. I'm gonna
Oof.
say Christos 6. Yeah, just like I said earlier, I think Bowleys are in sort of a state where they're not top level, but then they're also not Division 2 level. There's like an alternate level, so I'm gonna put them in the middle, and I'm gonna say they're gonna get battered by 6 goals to 1 by Christos.
While I agree, I'm also going to disagree with you. I'm going to pick Christos, but I'm going to go 2-0. Austin Hyde is going to be featuring in goal for Bowleys. He's done a great job not only running the team, but he's a phenomenal goalkeeper. They've recruited a lot of talent, a lot of McDaniel College alumni. So I think they're going to have an even stronger side than the one we saw in the MSSL Division 2 this past season. And they were blowing teams out of the water. I don't think they conceded through 6 or 7 games. So I do think he's going to be the busiest keeper on the weekend, Austin Hyde, but I think he's able to limit it to 2 goals. So 2-0 favor of
Yeah,
Christos.
but there's only so many saves you can make though when you face too many shots. And I watched them play against Slancha the last time. Like the opening 30 minutes of the game, the defense was really, really open. And if Slancha were like clinical on the day, they could have gotten a couple of goals as well. And they're coming up against the Christos side that's probably clinical. The strikers have more experience, can do the hold-up play. They're gonna get a lot of shots on target, and I think there's only so many saves you can make as a goalkeeper.
Baptism by fire for sure.
Yeah. I mean, well, they have been announcing a lot of players, so I do think it's going to be a little bit more competitive than I initially.
Oh,
Think-
Bowleys
but-
have been announcing players?
Yeah, they've been announcing
Oh,
players
okay,
on their
okay.
social media. So, like Noah said, it might be a different side as to earlier this year. And plus, bringing back those college students, Christos is also going to be doing the same thing for their USL2 side. So it might be dicey. So we'll see. I think Christos is going to take it for sure, though. Now we're going to move over to Virginia, to the Virginia division. Noah's already excited because he knows
yeah.
the first game is going to be Los Toros versus Team Orange. I think, Noah, you're going to pick first. So
Yeah.
I
let's
am
start there.
indeed, and this is going to be one that we have live on the channel, so I'll say that right off the bat. This is my match of the week of
Same.
so many good games.
Yeah.
These teams have history, and actually, it's Orange has been the team that has come out on top in both of the recent contests in the summer iteration of the DMV Cup, which little different, but it's very similar format in terms of Champions League style. So Orange, you're going to see a completely different style, and they're going to show up with 13 guys 20 minutes before the game, and you're going to think, oh, what are these guys doing? And when they play, they move the ball with ease. 2-1. We're going 2-1 Orange over Los Toros. Sorry, Toros. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for a win. Damn, this is painful, but I think Los Toros are gonna win. I love Orange because every time I commentate on their games, their fans come later and said, "Oh, you're such a good commentator." They always compliment me, so I love them. I really like the team, but I think Orange are just stacked right now. And actually, the last time both teams met, I was the one doing the commentary on that game. Team Orange won 3-1. It was a sensational game. Los Toros dominated possession, dominated shots, had everything, just not the goals. I think this time around they have Jack Stone, they have like a full team. Everybody wants to be part of their project now. So I think Los Toros are going to win. I'm going to say it's going to be something, maybe 3-1.
Wow, that's a big goal differential. Man, can we go a tie?
You want to go? Yeah, you can go.
I forgot about that. I'm glad
But
you...
this is it's such a tight fixture, isn't
I'm
it?
just gonna go because this sounds like an action-packed game with the talent that's gonna be there. I'm just gonna go straight 2-2. I think there's gonna be
sounds
goal.
fair.
I think it's gonna be a good fought, game. 2-2. I'm gonna go 2-2. All right, Aegean Hawks versus Yings United. By the way, I should mention Yings United's logo is probably one of my favorite in this area.
The pups.
The pups. I love
Noah
it.
does love that nickname, don't you, Noah?
Yeah, the Pittsburgh history. I mean, I don't have any love for Pittsburgh so much, but it's so clever. It's so much culture to it. You got to respect it,
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, Alfred, you got this one.
Yeah, for this one, I'm going to say Aegean Hawks. United won by two 2-1 in the final, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they beat Aegean Hawks in the semifinals, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Before falling to Los Toros in the finals in APL.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know how that happened because I watched Yins United play against world-class Premier, and I'm going to say it wasn't really their best game. So for them to go on and beat Aegean Hawks, I don't know, maybe it was just a bad day for Aegean Hawks. But this time around, I'm going to go for Aegean Hawks.
That's a fair pick. I'm going to pick Aegean Hawks 3-1. I was at that match, the Aegean Hawks Yins. Last time they played, Aegean Hawks they took it lightly. They didn't have all of their players, and the players that were there didn't perform. Yins United, they're a team, as many teams in the amateur space, they can go either two ways. You know, they can show up fully prepared, but it's after the holidays. They're a team that, you know, they maybe have guys at weddings or whatever. Like, you know, it's one of those, I don't think it's going to be their best performance. I think Aegean Hawks, they have the resolve where they underperformed at the end of the season, and they have everything to prove now.
That's too funny. You're 100% right about that comment about Yings.
You never know who's going to be there.
Definitely, yeah.
I was so full on board going to pick the Pups, but now you just reminded me they're very much that type of team. So I'm going to have to go the Hawks.
Yeah.
That's too funny. All right, Alexandria United versus World Class Premier.
Alexandria United versus World Class Premier. Well, I have a specific bias in this one. I'm gonna go Alexandria United 1-0 over World Class Premier. But you'll find out later why there's a slight bias for me on that one.
No.
Why I'm picking a shutout.
I'm gonna say if Alexandria United have all their players, which I'm sure that it's not gonna happen. If they have all their players, they're gonna win. I think they're gonna be World Class Premier, and I'm gonna say 3-2. But that's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna go for World Class Premier. Yeah, because Alexandria United, they had a semi-final against Los Toros in the VSSL. And almost all of their first team players were out. That was really disappointing to me, and it's a team I respect so much. So yeah, I'm gonna say 3-1 win for World Class Premier. But if Alexandria United bring all their players, and including the new ones, I think they're gonna win. But the bottom line is World Class Premier 3, Alexandria United 1.
Yeah, and I gotta say a shout out to Daniel in that midfield of World Class Premier. It's gonna really make it tough for Alexandria United. So 1-0 may not be doing full justice to World Class Premier, but hey. Got to rile up the people somehow. Got to put some controversy in there.
World Class Premier is such a class organization. I mean, they were the ones that birthed Bobcats, so it's like so much history there. Obviously, those two organizations have split since then, but it's definitely as they call themselves, a world class organization. So I'm gonna pick World Class Premier.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Noah, don't come at me for it.
No, I love it. Yeah.
But it's gonna. I just want them to really just be on the front foot, please. I need to see some shots on goal.
Yeah, but they're such a good side, though. They're really such a good side. They have the players. They need a little bit of discipline, I think, but they definitely have the players.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
All right, Esperion versus Northstar United. That is the last game on Sunday for the MDV Cup.
Yeah.
Who are we going with?
I've seen Esperion play once. They played against Estudiantes. Estudiantes had a very young side, and Esperion really dominated that game. Northstars, they really have the players. But this one is slightly harder to predict, honestly. But, you know, because I've watched Northstars and I know the sort of players they have available, I think I'm going to go with a 3.
Yeah, this is a fixture we saw over the summer in the DMV Cup, the Summer Copa. And it ended up all the way into penalty kicks. Esperion were victorious. I'm going to pick Esperion again, but for a different reason. I think Northstars, coming off the holidays, I don't think they fully reset into the preseason, and I don't know what we're going to see. I think at their best, you know, I might pick Northstars on a better day, but, you know, this is another answer maybe I would change once we get at the field and see who they have in their stable and what their preparation level is. But I'm going to pick Esperion, let's say 2-0.
I have a question. Sorry, Gio.
No,
you said Northstars played Esperion in the DMV, because I remember it was Baltimore City they played, right?
Yeah, it was in the DMV Summer Copa, the Silver Copa, actually, the second iteration, and it was the match previous to that one, to Baltimore City versus previous.
Baltimore.
It was in the group stage. It was in the group.
Wait, group stage. Okay.
No, was it?
Because they played.
Oh, okay. You're right. They beat Esperion. They beat Esperion. Yeah. You're right, because it wouldn't have been in penalty kicks. Glad you called me out on that. Yeah, so Northstars were victorious in that one in penalty kicks.
Yes.
Man, you gotta love the local leagues because you know some of these teams, their rosters after certain dates of the years are just hilarious, right?
You never know what you're gonna get.
True, you never know. Like Northstars, you never know. Like, especially I've watched Northstars so many times. You never know.
Yeah. I'll say TBD depending on the roster.
Okay.
Probably not the right time for it, but you just reminded me of my funny moment, and it goes all the way back to the spring, but it's going to be the Northstars Arlington SA VSSL match where Northstars they did everything right. They were beating Arlington in a thrilling match. They were down a man. They had gotten a red card and they were still up. Still found a way to squander 2 goals in the last 2 minutes of stoppage time, and Alfred just absolutely berating them. That was when you were still a big North Stars fan.
Yeah, I was.
It reminded me of my funny moment of the year from 2024.
That game, I was not there. I was not there actually. I was watching from home.
You were in the chat, I think.
Yeah, and I was supposed to go somewhere, but the game was so good. The commentary was so good, so I was sitting in my room and watching the game. And was it 89 minutes? Northstars are winning 2-1 full time. Northstars lost by 3
Michael
goals.
Kim, the sometimes North Stars player, sometimes Arlington SA player, scored the go-ahead goal.
Oh my God, yeah, that was disappointing, but a good moment as well for Arlington.
So we showed the MDV Cup a lot of love because obviously that is going to be the top teams from both Maryland and Virginia. I still want to make sure we talk about the Morton Cups because that tournament starts this Sunday as well. So I want to ask you, let's start with Alfred. Do you have any candidates that you want to throw and say, hey, this team is either a team to look out for or a team that potentially wins the Norton Cup? Obviously, these are group stages, so there's still a lot to go for, but take it away.
Yeah, there's 2 teams actually, and they're playing themselves in the first opening match. It's Slancha and Baltimore City. Really 2 good teams with high prospects as well. I think Baltimore City probably a little bit more structured. I think those are like great teams to look out for, and I think one of them actually will be going all the way, or even maybe both of them will be going all the way. There's another team I have maybe slight bias since I have a connection with Emerson, but Blessed FC. Also a very good team. I've seen them make comebacks. They play really good football. I think they have a shout too. Etihad, I've heard their names in the MSSL. I don't know how they perform, but I know they DMV Silver last season, didn't they, Noah? Yeah, so yeah, I think so. Maybe they're also a team. And then I don't know much if Blazers have recruited. Oh, I love Blazers. You really know I do, Noah, but I don't know if I really want to say if they're a team maybe that will be going all the way. But, we might be surprised at the end.
Didn't Etihad win the 2nd division of the Maryland Majors before they made the leap over to the Maryland Super Soccer League?
They actually won the Maryland Majors. They won the Maryland Majors, and yeah, they did come over back to MSSL Division 2. They used to play in Division 2 in MSSL. They just missed out on playoffs. They were lower mid table, but they're a solid program.
No, do you have any candidates you wanna put your hat on?
Yeah, I want to just first mention, there's a great pedigree of, although it's the Europa League of the two leagues, there's a great pedigree of class clubs coming out of the Morton Cup. The champions, All Stars United, went from being champions to being regular season MSSL Division 1 regular season title holders. Das Beer Hall, they are multi-Morton Cup title holders, and look at where they are. They had a storybook run this season. And then, of course, DMV Elite, they won the Morton Cup, and they went on. They now have an NPSL franchise. So if you're a team competing in the Morton Cup and you're up and coming, this is the playbook for how you make a name for yourself, win this field, keep going up, find yourself in the MDV Cup. I'll pick 3 teams. I do like what Blazers have been doing. I think they struggled a bit in the UPSL and in the VSSL, but I think they're going to find themselves in this field. Andrew Genis has really been putting together a reliable squad, and I think this is where they find their footing. Man, Baltimore City or Slancha, either or. I think one of those 2 could go all the way. It's tough to pick. My bias, I have a little bit more familiarity recently with Slancha, so I'm going to pick Arlie Hitz Slancha. And then another team that really could make waves is Moco 1776. They're a team that played in the UPSL DMV North, kind of the parody of Blazers. They struggled a bit in that strong UPSL DMV North conference, but I think they're going to find their footing here in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of actions. I know I wasn't supposed to pick one, but that matchup between Slancha and Baltimore City,
yeah.
Those 2 teams, is definitely going to be something to watch out for. But there's a lot of games this weekend. There's a total of 16 games on Sunday. So if you are not watching one of these games, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just go out, be supportive.
Yep.
Go support one of your local soccer teams. And if for some reason you can't, you're here in the DMV Sports Media channel, you'll be watching some live. And if you're subscribed, thank you. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment. This is the place to be. We'll be covering a lot of these teams. Right now, we'll be covering cups. When the leagues kick off, we'll be covering the leagues. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, thank you. Everyone, thank you. We'll see everyone hopefully on the field, if not online. Take it easy.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Take care.